Punisher, welcome back, Frank. This is the first and only Punisher storyline that's been collected in this collection. It was actually the storyline that inspired the 2004 Thomas Jane movie, which was, not amazing. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing either. So this is another one that's in two halves. Half one, half two. There's a definite Thomas Jane vibe with the covers in this. Not so much in the art. The art done by the late great Steve Dillon, who I usually am not a fan of, but when he's drawing Punisher, it works. It works really well. Garth Ennis is just the Punisher guy at this point. He's the guy who, the Punisher is his character. Peter David has the Hulk, Walt Simonson, now Jason Aaron have Thor as their character. Garth Ennis is like that with the Punisher. He just knows how to write the Punisher. So this story is basically, the Punisher at this point has been, up until now, has been working for angels trying to kill demons that had been infesting Earth. He decided that wasn't for him, so the angels gave him a glimpse into his future, or gave him a glimpse into heaven to see his family, and he was like, I don't want to be there because I don't deserve it. Send me back to Earth. And he was like, and the inner monologue on the first page is, they sent me back to Earth in the crime infested streets, thinking that this was going to be hell for me. No, this is my heaven. And I was like, yes, that's the Punisher, because the Punisher in the Netflix series is all very morally ambiguous. He's all very he will do these horrible things. He will go out and kill all these criminals, and he will be conflicted about it, and he will go and see his family's grave and everything. Here, it's different. In the comics, the comic book version of the Punisher doesn't care. He used the excuse of his family dying, his family being killed. He uses that as an excuse to exact vengeance, or to go on this warpath. The actual reason why he goes on it is because he just misses Vietnam. He just misses Vietnam, so he wants to, have a war that follows him. And he was just like, well, I can't go around killing everyone, because then I'll just be a psychopathic madman. Instead, I'll go around killing criminals, because they bloody deserve it. So where we see the Punisher in this book is he's in this apartment complex with, and he's kind of going under the pseudonym of Mr. Smith, and he's kind of, well, not befriended, but there's other people in this apartment that are a bit weird. Mr. Bumpo, who's extremely fat, Spacker Dave, who's just got loads of piercings, and one woman who's really quiet and shy, and all of her text is in tiny writing, just to show that she's always whispering. And Frank Castle's going after this Nucci family, and led by Nucci. And he goes around and he's killing all the individual members of the family, and it gets to the point where he has Nucci in a zoo, and they're chasing him down, and he finds himself with no weapons, and Nucci follows him into like this polar bear den, and the Punisher's like, I've got no weapons, got nothing to fight with, and he sees the polar bear, he just punches the polar bear in the face, then legs it, and the polar bear sees Marnucci and like rips off her arms and legs, but somehow she survives. So she brings in this guy called the Russian, who is this giant, beefy, like massive guy who we see like who's like killed so many people just for sport, just for the fact that he loved killing people. Um, and he fights Frank Castle, and it's like 2 issues of just straight action, and he almost kills Frank, but Frank finds out that this Russian guy doesn't like heat, so he uses like he shoves his head into like he uses a frying pan. He shoves his hand into like a boiling hot saucepan. Uh, it goes into Mr. Bumbo's room, who's like eating really hot pizza, and he just throws the pizza in the Russian's face, and gets this fat guy to just lay on top of him, suffocating him, and it's so entertaining, and it's refreshing because you go from all of those other books that are really like deep, intricate storylines that are really complex and compelling, and then you got this, which is just he suffocated a guy by laying another fat guy on top of him. It's so stupid. It's brilliant, and that is the thing that the Punisher always has to be. It's a it's a big burly shouty man with guns running around killing people. It's such a outlandish subject that I feel like the best Punisher comics are the ones where Punisher is silent for a lot of it, and here the Punisher is silent for a majority of the story, and the ones that go all out on the bombastic nature of it. And even more to the credit of Garth Ennis, he introduces 3 other vigilantes who kind of form their own squad, and they're like, we need to bring in the Punisher, he can lead us to salvation. We've got like the Holy, who's a psychopathic churchgoer, like priest, who like takes confessions, and then after every confession he just walks in there with an axe and starts hacking up the guy who's just had a confession. We've got the Elite, who's in like this really high up like place in America, and he's just walking around the city, and he's like, we don't like drug dealers in this city. It's a nice neighborhood. Pulls out a gun, shoots him in the face. Your dog just urinated on the ground. We don't want dog's urine in this neighborhood. It's a nice neighborhood. Pulls out a gun, shoots the dog. You're selling hot dogs in this neighborhood. Can't you sell them over there? Well, people here are richer, so I'm gonna get more money. We don't want hot dogs in our neighborhood. They bring in truckies, and so he just shoots the hot dog vendor in the face, and like it's stuff like that that's so stupid. It's absolutely brilliant. And then there's Mr. Payback, who goes into all these like big businesses, and he's just like, and he just shoots them up, and he's like, no, I'm bringing payback to the little man. And when they all like come together, they can't actually like succeed in anything because they're all too busy like shouting at each other, and there's too much infighting. And when the Punisher does find out who they are, because there's these 2 cops that are kind of tailing the Punisher and Marnucci, and they're waiting for the Punisher and Marnucci to like combat each other. Like when the Punisher eventually goes for Marnucci, he's gonna that's when they can bust both of them. So instead of that happening, the Punisher ends up burning down Marnucci's house. Um, Marnucci at this point in time has no arms, no legs. She just jumps out of the house, uh, starts biting Frank Castle's leg, and he's just no fuck off, kicks her back into the flaming abyss of her house. And then the two cops are like, right, there's these three other vigilantes back in New York. You got to sort them out. So when he does, they're like, you can lead us to salvation. You can lead the vigilante squad. And he's like, is this what you dreamed about? Is this like exactly what you wanted? And the Punisher's just like, no, gets his gun out and shoots them all. It it's so outlandish. It's so like straightforward to the point. It's a big burly shouty man with guns shooting up criminals, and I love it. There's no like moral quandaries. There's no points in this where stuff slows down. There's no like sitting down and kind of contemplating anything. In this, it's literally just action scene to action scene to action scene to action scene, and I love it. And even if at the end and the big like conclusion with Marnucci is a bit and the kind of the three vigilante thing goes nowhere. I kind of like the fact that it goes nowhere because it's like it's so funny because they build up these three guys as so important to the plot, and they're just these three people that end up getting killed at the end. It's like, oh, you're setting up new villains for the Punisher to go up against. No, they're just done, just gone. Um, yeah, the Punisher Welcome Back Frank is so good because it is so fun and it doesn't take itself seriously at all. Um, there are moments of seriousness here where they have like the people in the apartment complex like get targeted, or not really targeted. Two people go into the apartment complex and one of them kind of like spurges the details a bit and can't keep their mouth shut, so he gets like tied up to this chair, and they just start like pulling out all of his piercings until he speaks, and spends like the rest of the book with his whole face in bandages because it got really fucked up. And like, yeah, but then again, it's the Punisher, so what do you expect? You're gonna have really gratuitous violence in a Punisher book because it is the Punisher. But anyway, that's kind of all I have to say for the Punisher Welcome Back Frank. I'll probably give it an 8 out of 10. Um, it's not really it's not meant to be a deep, compelling, narrative-driven story. It's meant to be a fun, light-hearted, silly poke at kind of 90s action or 80s action movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rambo. It's kind of it's a poke at that. It's not a super serious Punisher book, especially not as serious as Punisher right now. But yeah, Punisher Welcome Back Frank, Part 1 and Part 2, so bloody good. They really should have put some of the stuff from this in the series. That would have made it so much better. Not that it wasn't good already. It's just the stuff from this, especially the Russian. The Russian should definitely have been in Punisher. If they made a season 3, which they're not going to now. Jessica Jones has a third season. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care for Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones season 2 was absolute dog crap. I'm not watching season 3. I'm just not. I don't care. Um, yeah, I love this book. You pick it up in the link below. Everything's linked below. You've seen my social medias. They'll also be linked below if you didn't see them at the opening of this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.